Hello and welcome to Elite Tech News. My name is Nathaniel Schooler and I have a really interesting episode here for you. This was recorded with nextlevelpodcast.com and is a preview of the hour-long interview that we did with Michael Tobin, OBE, Technology Entrepreneur Extraordinaire. In this episode, we discuss lots of things around big data. We discuss business strategy. We discussed lots of exciting things that will help you to grow your business. So excuse the background noise. This was actually recorded at the gardening club in Dover Street. So yeah, you have to excuse the noise, but it's a great episode. Thank you. Cheers.
Focus on delivering my vision.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it's going to happen.
Okay.
Now, if you think about going on holiday,
Yeah.
if you've got your holiday booked, you might know which resort you're going to, which country it is, right? But you probably don't know what color the BA flight or what color the plane is going to be, and you don't know what color the taxi is going to be when you take the taxi to the airport, and you probably don't know what route he's going to take. You might have a reasonable idea, but you won't know what route it is. And by the way, if there's a roadblock on the road, it doesn't mean to say your holiday is finished. He'll just take a detour and he'll get there in time, and you'll plan a few extra minutes early just in case that happens. So all of these things that are the unpredictable bits, which you cannot write in a strategy document, right? But the vision is, I'm going on holiday. Right? Yeah. So by hook or by crook, I'm going to get there. And I don't really mind if I get Ubered on the way. Okay. Right? Because I'll find a way through it. That's the kind of attitude. It's not prescriptive, this is how we're going to do it. It's more, this is what we're going to do, and we'll work the way of getting it done on the way.
So it's really like a continual innovation.
Yeah.
Because most ideas, most things are invented already, right? I mean, you can shoot me down for that. You can shoot me with that if you want, but most things are invented already. To invent something, don't worry, I'm fine. To invent something right now is really hard, right?
Well,
so you can innovate.
Okay, you can innovate, and I'm not 100% sure what the difference between innovate and invent is, but I kind of see what you mean. So the way I see the answer to that particular comment is that it's a bit like the big data thing, right? Yeah. People see big data, people see data as really valuable, and they want to own it and they want to keep it secure, and it's my data and it's so valuable. Well, I disagree with this, right? I think the true value of data is when it's released into the open, and that you can access data ubiquitously. Because if you look at Uber, I can mention the name again, that play, right, which owns a bunch of users, and it has this device that follows a car tracking it around. Okay. But the value of having that information in a vertical is nothing compared to having it on a horizontal, because if you then could access the CCTV cameras in London, and you could access the weather conditions, then you could actually sell it to an insurance company, could package up an insurance claim with footage, with your driving style, with driving conditions, before you've even claimed. Right? And that's true value, and that's ubiquitous access, no ownership, but the innovation, the invention, if you like, comes from how you bring it all together. So it's not one idea, it's the amalgamation of many ideas to make a new idea.
I'm grinning away here. Because, I mean, big data with weather data it's massive. I was just talking about it this morning, and how, like, for example, say you're an ice cream manufacturer, and you can actually input the weather data into your sales figures, into your supply chain, and you can say, well, we think, based upon our advertising campaigns, that we're going to grow X amount per year, and then you can actually add the whole new level of weather data on top.
Absolutely.
Right? It's just so exciting, because and also the reduction in wastage, right? Because you were talking about that earlier. Well, I know it's a bit of a diversion, right? I've got some questions, but that I wrote down. But actually, I found what you were saying about by 2020, there's going to be a reduction in costs in
F&B, food and beverage industry, by 15%,
which is just massive.
Which on their margins are immense, just immense savings.
And also that's gonna help people who are hungry, right?
Yeah, of course.
We hope.
Well, absolutely. You know, these are things. These are things that you've got devices on the release of water and chemicals into the soil, which is almost meter by knowing exactly what nutrients to go in every meter of a field, rather than just spraying the entire thing with random amount.
Totally.
Yeah, so these are the things that can happen, and the tuning, the fine tuning, right? And the vision is I want an optimal crop, right? And the plan is, well, I don't know which meter is going to be needing what, so I'm not going to build a plan for that.
Exactly.
But I'm going to finely tune each, like a. What is really cool, someone explained this to me in a better way. They said, large ships are really difficult to turn. And so the size of the rudder is enormous, and to turn a ship like that is enormous. So what they do is on the end of the rudder, they have mini rudders.
Okay.
And they're easy to turn because they're little. But by turning that little rudder, it helps drag the big rudder around.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So you're doing micro changes all the time, and you're guiding the overall picture of the ship, right? So this is kind of how we use big data, or how we use the Internet of Things and big data.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting few years with all the security issues that are around that, and actually, it's going to be crazy. I mean, certain wine locations, wine regions in the world, they don't allow extra water. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So actually, the ones that actually do allow extra water are gonna come up with the most amazing quality wines. It's going to be really interesting to gauge that, and also the vitamins and the nutrients that these plants need. It's just going to be. It's quite exciting time, really.
Well, think about if we had, obviously people enjoy their alcohol, and if you could put nutrients into alcohol, which nobody's really thought about yet, but they've tried to put things into bread. But they haven't put it into alcohol yet, and that might actually be a better thing. So.
Well, I don't know. I think with the way alcohol affects absorbing the nutrients.
Of course.
I think they. What was I going to say? I had something interesting about that. It doesn't matter. It might come to me later. But I think it's a very, very interesting time right now, for sure. And so, how do you think big data affects scaling a startup business? Do you think they can use it, or is it too expensive?
I mean, some businesses actually use big data as their core product, if you like, right? So again, my position is that it's not about a vertical application. So somehow we need, and I think this is where government is really important, because government has a tremendous amount of data on us,
right?
And I think that so I just got a few people arriving here, so it's been a little bit noisy. Government has a really tremendous amount of data on us. It would be tremendously useful if we could release that data into the atmosphere, if you like, and have everyone use that kind of thing. But I don't think that's going to happen in the near future. But somehow, companies, I think, first of all, need to think about what do they want to be famous for, right? And then try and identify areas in which they can gather large volumes of data on a horizontal basis, not a vertical basis.
Explain to some people what horizontal and vertical is.
So, as I say, if you've got a vertical application, you're focused on the data within that bit of the business, right? That industry,
niche,
And actually, the amount of enriching you could do to your portfolio product by combining other vertical information on a horizontal basis. So you're taking a bit of all this other big data as well. And I think most businesses could benefit from, the simplest stuff in big data. People think about big data as like this tremendous amount of data, but you can start with a CRM system, right? And you can say, I'm going to put all my clients, every single time I touch a customer or prospect, I'm putting it in a CRM system. And if you did this absolutely religiously, you would build a tremendous big data, sort of platform, right? Now the problem is, it's usually salespeople that use CRM, and with respect, and I am a sales background, we never use CRM systems because we think they're a pain in the neck to use. And so I think one of the issues is getting people to understand the value of things like CRM systems, because they're only a system, right? They don't produce the data. You've got to put the data in. Big data is it's not there. You've got to produce the data, and then you can analyze it. and producing data on clients relies on people to do the work around the engagement, right, so that you can enrich an understanding. And then you can use a technology to cut and splice people in the right way. So then if you've got an offer, then you know that, let's say someone gets a couple of free tickets to Chelsea, and then they know how many of their potential customers or potential prospects are Chelsea supporters. Then they can go in and look at a database rather than having to think, now which of my guys would I have to invite? Oh gosh, I can't remember. One button could identify that in 1 second. Right. So it's very true. It's a very simple kind of, put the data into a system, and you can cut and slice it and splice it as much as you want. So people buy data, and they buy really sometimes very generic lists of nonsense, which is why we always get which is why we always get these random calls from did you have an accident? Well, your name's on a list somewhere and they've sold it, right? And so some of this, and this is where I think our wariness comes in as well. We don't like people having data on us because people abuse the fact that they own it. Callers over that. Right? Because unfortunately, we're way beyond that. No one's going to uninvent, right? So, we're not going to have one of those men in black pens and make everyone forget all our data. It's out there. It's in the ether. Right? So we've got to get used to it, and we've got to say, well, okay, if I have nothing to hide, I'm going to build protection in that stops people phoning me. I'll block callers. I'll do all those things, and people eventually take you off the list because it's wasting their time.
Thank you so much for listening. We will be releasing part 3 of this exciting interview in the next few days on Elite Tech News. And in the meantime, if you want to subscribe to nextlevelpodcast.com, you'll be able to listen to the first interview that I did with Mike Tobin, OBE. And please subscribe and look forward to your feedback. Thanks a lot. Cheers.